This week's word is the difference between founders who rise and founders who repeat the same year 5 times. Systems. It's the most misunderstood word in business. People think it means tools, apps, checklists, automations, but a system is none of that. A system is architecture. It's how you turn intention into inevitability. Today, I'm breaking down what systems really are in the modern founder era and how they quietly decide your future. By the end, you can have one concrete system you can install this week. Subscribe, like, and make sure you turn on your notification. So, what is a system? A system is a decision you make once that produces results every time. That's it. It's the infrastructure behind your behavior. It turns all your chaos into rhythm and it makes your consistency automatic. When people say they struggle with motivation, discipline, or output, they're not struggling with motivation, they're struggling with architecture. Now listen, people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they're winging it. If progress only happens on your best days, that's not growth, that's just luck. But if progress happens because your system carries you, that's compounding. Now, most founders do everything manually. They plan manually, produce manually, sell manually, deliver manually, track manually. And because everything depends on them, the business has no spine. That's why they burn out. It's not volume, it's volatility. They're not running a business, they're running a survival pattern. Now, a systemless business is like holding water in your hands. The more you grab, the faster it leaks. So, quick story, bit embarrassing, but it's helpful. I used to always lose my keys. Like, it was stupid. Like, constantly lose my keys every time. Every morning was literally a scavenger hunt. I was searching my jacket, my trousers, all my pockets, like, is it in my gym bag, my sofa? It was bad. But then once I'd find it, I promised to myself, you know what, Liban, tomorrow I'm gonna be more organized. No, Liban was in fact not organized. And then the chaos repeated itself again. Then I made one decision that changed everything. And it's really smart. I decided to screw a hook on the door and put a small tray under it. And then I gave myself a rule. The rule was, when I walk in, keys go in a hook and wallet and AirPods go in a tray. No exceptions. So, day 2, no hunt. Day 10, still no hunt. I didn't have to scramble to look for my keys because I set up a system for me to follow. Now, I didn't become a more disciplined person like a lot of people would say. I just stopped needing discipline. I didn't need to discipline myself. The system did the remembering for me. So that's the point. Decide once, benefit forever. It's not about trying harder each morning. It's about removing the morning decision entirely. Now, apply that to business. So for content, you'd have one parking spot for ideas, one weekly slot they move through. So they would go from your ideas to your scripts. You film it, you edit it, and you post. That would be a system throughout your week. Then let's say, for example, sales, right? Let's talk about sales. You'd have one daily block after lunch, one message template, and then one follow-up at 48 hours. Then let's say you handle the delivery sides of things. You'd have one checklist from scope to draft to review to deliver to debrief. Now, using my example, the hook by the door is your process. The tray is your template. The no exception rule is your trigger. The result? No more daily debate, just repeatable outcomes. Now, here's what systems actually do practically. First, systems create consistency. See, all of you guys try to think, I need to be more consistent. That's one of the main things people keep talking about. I want to become more consistent at this, more consistent at the gym, with my content, with work. Now, systems create that consistency. So understand this. Now, they don't create perfection, just consistency. Now, consistency builds trust, and trust becomes proof, and proof becomes your growth. Then, second, systems compress time. What used to take a week takes a morning. What used to take a morning takes an hour. And now, third, systems multiply identity. You stop being your own bottleneck. Your standards live inside the structure. That's when people say, your team is so disciplined. And the truth is, you just have cleaner systems, not a whole team. Then fourth, systems let you scale without stress. So you can grow without losing quality or your mind. Now let's clear a common mistake, right? A system is not a beautiful Notion page or a fancy Airtable or a new software you bought, a checklist you made once or a planner sitting on your desk. Those are just tools. Tools support systems, but they are not the system. A real system is a predictable loop. You'd have your input, process, output, the proof, then improvement. If it doesn't produce predictable outcomes, it's not a system. It's just a to-do list, wearing suits. So last month in my business, it looked like I hired a team. 3 videos out, client delivery shipped, DMs answered, invoices sent. Then people asked me, yo Liban, who's your staff? What staff? It was me. Me, myself, and I. And 5 systems. From the outside, the whole business looked like departments. But in reality, it was the department of, we already decided this. That's what systems do. They stimulate headcounts by compressing decisions and handoffs you used to make in a moment. Now, let me show you a simple example, right? Most creators post when they feel inspired. They write when they're motivated. They film when they're in a good mood. And that's not creation. That's quite literally gambling. A system looks like this. Monday, research. Tuesday, script. Wednesday, film. Thursday, edit. And Friday, you publish and review the content. Now, the work you just did isn't emotional, it's structural. Now, you don't need inspiration. Inspiration needs you. Now, another quick story, yeah? You see how I've been posting on Instagram, right? When I first started, someone decided to copy my topic, my hook, even my opening line. Yeah? Listen, I don't mind, but I'm still going to mention it. Now listen, he stole the tactic. He had the tactic. However, he didn't have my system. No idea mining ritual, no edit template, no posting cadence, no follow-up pipeline. His video spiked, but then died. However, mine, of course, kept compounding because the system kept producing and following up. You can copy a post, but you cannot copy a pipeline. And that's the moat. All right, so let's create one system together right now. So I want you to pick one area, right? Whether it's content, sales, client delivery, or your week, anything that you need a system on. Got it? Cool. Now, step 1, define a weekly output you can count. So let's say if I'm posting videos, I would say 3 short videos. If I want sales touches, I would say, okay, I want 5 sales touches. If I'm doing client deliverables, I'd say I'd want 2 client deliverables in the week. So have that there, right? And I want you guys to have one deep work block per day. Make it specific and make it countable. Design the path in 3 to 7 steps. If it's longer than 7 steps, split the goal. Now, step 3, I want you to lock a trigger and a constraint. Trigger is when it starts. Time, place, or after something else. Constraint is the guardrail, your time box, your template, or your one take rule. Step 4, score the process, not your feelings. Count everything you complete per week. So count your completions per week. Now, as you do that, you understand that the scorecard you're writing on is your truth. Outcomes follow repetitions. Now, let me model it with content, right? So my weekly output would be 3 shorts, right? 3 short videos. So now my path would be Monday, I'll need to research 10 hooks and choose 3 out of the 10. Then Tuesday, I would outline and write. Then Wednesday, I would film a roll, so the main piece of content. Then Thursday, I would edit. Then Friday, as I said, I would publish and review the video. Now my trigger would be 9 a.m. calendar block daily. So every day at 9 a.m., I block part of that day out at 9 a.m. Now my constraint would be a 60-minute cap per step. So maximum per step, I can only spend 60 minutes. the one take rule on the A roll so I can only have one take. Then I would have my template preset in my editing app. Now, as for my score, I would have 6 points available, 1 per step. Hits 5 or more, and that week counts. That's a win. That's it. No motivation required. The system drags you across the line. Now let's say sales. Your weekly output would be 5 meaningful sales touches. Your path would be identify 10 leads, send 3 personalized DMs, then book a call, follow up after 48 hours, and log notes. Then your trigger would be after lunch, set a 30-minute timer. And your constraint would be use the message template and personalize with 1 line. Then stop at 30 minutes, even if you're in the zone. Then your score would be 1 point per completed step, minimum 4 to count the week. Now, notice how the emotion is gone. There's no, oh, but do I feel like doing it today? Nah, there's only which step am I on? This removes the emotion completely. So let me address the 3 biggest objections I hear. Objection 1, I don't have time to build systems. Listen, understand this. You don't build a giant machine in 1 day. You convert one reoccurring task into a loop. Pick the thing you want to do every week, write down the steps once, add a trigger and a constraint, and count completions. That literally takes 15 minutes. The time you save winging it is the time you keep paying in confusion tax. Objection 2, some people say, oh, my business is different. Every project is custom. Cool. Systemize 90% that isn't. How you intake, how you name files, how you communicate updates, how you invoice, how you close. Creativity lives inside the constraints. The more consistent your spine, the freer your hands, and the more time you have to do the things that aren't automated. Now, objection 3, people say, but I'm a creative. I can't be boxed in. Mate, you're not getting boxed in. You're getting your floor raised. Your minimum day gets better. Systems handle the repetitive beats so your brain can do the interesting bits. Think about musicians, the scales, the warm-ups, the set list. Those are systems that make the performance possible. If you're thinking, okay, where do I start? Use the checklist for the next 7 days. Number 1, choose a weekly output. Number 2, write 3 to 7 steps. Step 3, attach a trigger and a constraint to each step. Step 4, track every completion on 1 page you can't avoid opening. Then step 5, do the minimum viable action on low energy days. Tiny reps keep the rhythm alive. You don't always have to go crazy. Then step 6, review on Friday, for example. What created friction? What cut time? What to simplify? Then step 7, adjust one thing and run it again next week. That's improvement built in the loop, not bolted on like a New Year's resolution. So let me give you a couple of my tiny tactics that make my system stick. Pre-decide your environment. Put your tools where the work starts. If writing is first, your notes app is open at 9 AM with a blank template waiting. If filming is the first thing in the day, your camera battery is charged the night before, and your tripod lives where you shoot, basically removing the setup friction. Now, next, rename your calendar blocks to verbs and outputs, not vague intentions. Say, write 3 hooks, not content, right? You need to be specific. You need to write it down as you need to write 3 hooks, not this is content. Another horrible example would be writing it as sales. No, be specific. Say, send 3 DMs. Your brain executes verbs faster than it contemplates nouns, and keep score publicly, even if it's just to yourself, on a visible whiteboard. Humans play differently when there's a scoreboard. Now, one more quick comparison that helps. Motivation is the weather. Systems are your climates. Weather changes in the hour. Climate defines the season. You still have rainy days. The point is, your environment keeps moving even when the weather isn't great. On those days, the system is the floor. The littlest actions count. 1 page, 1 set, 1 message, 1 deliverable step. Small but certain beats. Big but rare. So here's what happens after a few weeks. The anxiety you used to feel on Sunday night gets replaced with quiet confidence because you know what Monday looks like. The guilt you used to carry about not doing enough becomes a clean number on a page. Like I said, you track your completions. The random spikes and crashes you have turns into a steady line trending up. That's not because you became a new person, it's because your system started doing the heavy lifting. So here's your word of the week challenge. What is one thing in your business that needs to stop relying on willpower and start running on a system? Is it your content, your sales, your client delivery, your habits, your identity, your week? Pick one. Turn one chaotic area into a loop and your whole business feels lighter. Stack enough loops and your success stops being optional. It becomes inevitable. So in the comments, I want you to comment in this specific way so I can reply with tweaks. I want to see your goal, your weekly outputs, the steps you're going to make, the trigger and the constraints, and the score. If you want the templates and the exact checklist I use, the link is in the description. So this week, don't chase motivation. Install the system and let motivation be a bonus, not a requirement. So that's the end of the word of the week. Systems. We will be doing it every single week. I hope you guys have learned a lot from this. Now, if you want me to put you on serious game and drop a lot of XP and knowledge, ask Libs.